Hey there, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley live with you here as we get ready to track the storm throughout the weekend. We're here on Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening watching it together with you. Things are becoming a little clearer now. We're learning a little bit day by day about the possible storm. Well, I shouldn't say possible because there's no way that this storm is missing us here in the Triad. We are going to get quite a lot of winter weather, and it starts coming up on Saturday. A couple of things that we've been tracking and learning along the way with this system. Number one, it's not going to be a snow storm. We can get some snow, but you have to get it on Saturday because after that, warm air is coming in above our heads, and that's going to turn all of this action into, unfortunately, we're going to see a mixture of sleet and freezing rain. So it starts out briefly as snow Saturday afternoon and then turning into freezing rain and sleet Saturday night into Sunday. And that's kind of what we're looking at. So it's a winter storm, not a snowstorm. It'll be high impact. Even if you don't get very much snow in your area, this is going to be a high impact storm. We talk about sleet accumulating out there being an issue. We talk about freezing rain coating the trees and everything else in sight. That can be a big issue. It can be a much bigger issue than snow can, and it's a lot less fun. Again, the timing on this, we're adjusting it every step of the way because we're learning more. It's looking like later and later on Saturday rather than earlier. So Saturday might still be an okay day of weather, at least for the first half. But as we get into Sunday, Sunday's a no-go. Sunday is you don't want to be outside. You don't want to be dealing with things. You want to be safe at home if you can, and leave the roads to the people that absolutely need to be out there because the roads will be going downhill, and we could unfortunately be in a pretty bad spot where we're dealing with power outages, falling trees, falling power outages as well. Power lines, I should say. Those power problems, they could last for several days, and we could see travel problems too. We will see travel problems as well that linger for several days. So we have extended our weather impact alert. I have it trimmed down now to Saturday afternoon going into Sunday morning. That's kind of the timing. I think by Saturday afternoon, you want to kind of hang out and be where you'll want to be for the rest of the weekend, and then go ahead and maybe park yourself there for a while. Snow briefly, but then sleet and some freezing rain as well. This could turn into an ice storm for a lot of folks, a serious one, and that's where we want to be extra careful. You want to be ready to be stuck for a few days. That's the main message I can give you. You want to be ready to be stuck for a few days where you are, and think about what you need. Think about what you need in those cases because that's going to be what drives your preparation for this. Stuck in the same spot for a couple of days, possibly without power. Remember, a lot of people could lose power here as trees go down or power lines get weighed down by freezing rain on Sunday. We do have a winter storm watch. This goes until Monday. This is likely to be upgraded to a winter storm warning as we get a little bit closer. Part of my concern about this storm is just how wet it is. I know that sounds silly to say, but when I say wet, I don't mean rain. Remember, the temperatures are going to be bitterly cold in the 20s throughout really most of the weekend. What I mean is that we are looking like getting about an inch to an inch and a half of water. That can be frozen water here. So if you equate that to just all snow event, which this isn't going to be, that would have been like 15 inches of snow. Now, instead, we're going to get a lot in the way of sleet, and we're going to get a lot in the way of freezing rain, too. So those are things to think about. Those are things to really think about, that we have a big potential with this thing, and that's part of the scary thing. The biggest changes that we've seen over the last couple of days is that the storm's trending north a little bit, which increases the threat of ice. We're also likely to see this starting briefly as snow on Saturday, then switching to sleet and freezing rain by Sunday. That's when you're worried about the icing. And across the Carolinas, in my mind right now, probably the major icing threat is somewhere between Charlotte and Raleigh. Now, that does include parts of our area. We might need to adjust this map even more as we get a little bit closer. But to my mind, I see some area from Raleigh to Asheboro to Charlotte as having the biggest risk of damaging ice. When we talk about damaging ice, that means, over a quarter of an inch to a half an inch when you're seeing trees come down, power outages that last a long time. In the Triad, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point, we're going to get ice too. We'll have freezing rain too, but I do think there is potential for sleet as well as ice. So there's both options on the table for us. And that's the hardest thing for us to figure out is going to be, is it more sleet? Is it more ice? I do think you want to be prepared for a bad ice storm anywhere in the Triad. And the way you prepare for that is think about what you would do if you lost power for several days. How do you keep yourself warm? How do you, what supplies do you need to be at home for a few days because you might not be able to get where you need to. Farther north, there is still a hope that you could stay snow for longer in those areas. But the reason this is an issue is because of this right here. We have cold air, when it comes to winter precipitation. Snow is simple. It's just cold air from the cloud all the way to the ground. Rain is also pretty simple. It's warm enough for it to be liquid. Freezing rain is when you start to run into issues. That's when you have air temperatures below freezing, but it's raining outside. Coats everything in sight. That's what a lot of people are going to see in North Carolina on Sunday. Sleet, that's when that rain freezes into ice droplets before hitting the ground. We'll have some sleet too. Sleet doesn't usually cause quite as many problems. It doesn't cause as many power outage problems, but it's a mess on the roads. And I do think the roads are going to be a mess, especially on Sunday. Sunday will be the day with worse impacts for this. This storm, it's not going to miss us. It's going to hit. And it's just a question of how bad and who gets the worst of the icing. But we're all going to have pretty bad impacts when it comes to travel. There will be bad impacts when it comes to icing. And there will probably be bad impacts when it comes to power outages as well. The snow impacts are trending lower. And that's a bummer because, if you like winter weather, you like snow, you like playing in it, this is not going to be one of those events. So I don't see this as being a fun event, unfortunately. Now, when we talk about freezing rain, these are things to keep in mind. We have minor, moderate, and severe. You tend to start to get big issues with freezing rain once it gets to be thicker than 1/4 inch. That's when trees and branches start to sag or break. Roads become icy, and you have scattered power outages as well. Severe impacts are once you start to get freezing rain over 1/2 inch. That's serious and that's scary. That's when you have widespread tree damage. The roads are pretty dangerous as well, and those power outages are absolutely widespread. So those are things to keep in mind as we get a little bit closer to this event. We'll be narrowing down and fine-tuning the areas who has the best chances of seeing those different impacts when it comes to sleet and freezing rain. Right now, here's a look at a computer model idea of the forecast. This would be Saturday afternoon. Notice how late it is. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, still dry. But we see some snow moving in Saturday afternoon and evening. Then it's all sleet for Saturday night into Sunday morning. Then we transition into probably some freezing rain that could be causing issues. Now, one thing I've colored in on this map, you see the yellow line? That's the freezing line way above our heads. And that's why this is melting into liquid drops instead of being just snowflakes. The freezing line, the 32-degree line where we live, well, it's all the way down in South Carolina. We're never warming above freezing on Sunday. That's never going to happen. Now, could we get a little snow on the backside? That's possible. So that'll be another little thing that we watch. There are always little wrinkles in the forecast that can develop. But bottom line, you need to be prepared to be stuck at home for a couple of days. And that's because of sleet, it's because of ice and freezing rain, possible power outages, and also, just general bad weather outside. Bad weather outside are all problems that could be for our area. 7-day forecast here. It's still nice outside the next couple of days. You have chances to take care of what you need to take care of. Get done with what you need to get done. You might even be able to do that early on Saturday. But as we go beyond that, it gets harder and harder. Sunday's a no-go for being outside. And then early next week, we're going to have issues with problems on the roadways and possibly long-lasting power outages as well. So be safe out there. We'll continue to keep you posted with the latest updates.